Or is it gone, guys?
No, the answer is here. We need to learn to break.
Had the paper, my brother. But continue, go.
Yes.
Let me listen here.
Yes.
Hey, suppose you haven't cried in ages.
We must learn to break.
Yes.
We think, we must learn to break before God. The vulnerability, I tell people, being vulnerable is power. Never think someone who's vulnerable that they are weak. Vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is power.
How?
You've heard this saying that women are emotional, what? But with their kind of nature, how they are made, they carry a place where they can influence and turn a man in whichever direction. Yet they are the weak ones.
So-called
the weak ones. Yeah. You are married, I can tell you.
Yes.
Your wives are not weak.
I know.
We can look at you and know you have been bent a certain way. So, vulnerability is strength. Paul says that in my weaknesses,
I'm strong.
You're shown strong.
the strength of God is made perfect. We must understand that the places where you are weak, God's strength must come out if you learn to trust God. He says, they that are weak come to me. Those that are weak, heavy laden. But this whole idea of us thinking that we have everything covered, we can figure everything out, is the beginning of why many things are breaking.
The macho self-made man.
Yes. So I tell people that, you know what, the part where you must break. That's why I talk about the heart. They have broke a contrite spirit. Broken and contrite. Broken, we can understand the being broken. But contrite means you lay bare. It's one thing to be broken. But I think when you're laid flat, God gives you an idea on how to walk out of this situation. The broken and contrite you shall not despise. That means you must allow to break, not only to break, but to lay prostrate and allow God to help you. We talk about people, God is going to help you. No, God is willing to help you, but you must allow Him to help you. You must allow Him to help you. So that's why we are creating an atmosphere where men come. And we create an atmosphere where they have to break. Because every man has this whole thing, ego that tells you, no, they should not talk to you like that. Things cannot happen like this. I have everything covered. And I can tell you, you have nothing covered. You have...
shaking.
Everyday things are shaking. You wake up in the morning, by 8, things start to shake.
The moment you open your eyes,
things start to shake. But you must have that place where you are with God. And God tells you, you're a child. You mentioned something, when you're a child. The Bible says when you are young, you went where you wanted. You do things the way you wanted. You could wake up and let me just go. Let me go here. But when you grow up, the Bible says you allow another to lead you in the places you don't even want to go to. And that's the place of maturity. Where you don't just go where you want to go. You don't just do things because you want to do them, because they are convenient. You allow another to guide you. Now that other is God. That other is the people God has placed in your life, who are mature, who have walked some of these places, who can tell you, young man, I see. I remember 7 years ago, a certain gentleman sat me down and told me things for 30 minutes. I didn't have words. He told me, young man, I see your life. I see 10 years from now, you're going to be destroyed, because I have observed your life. I've observed the way you talk, the way you relate with people, the way you interact with life. If you continue this direction, you're going to be destroyed. I went back in my room, asked myself questions. Which authority, which orders did this man have to speak to me that way? Then I slept on those words. Then I woke up asking myself, why did he say the words he said?
Wow.
Why did he say? The man was maybe 20 years older than me. But he looked at me and told me that I'm looking at your life. I have been where you are, but I see confusion. And at that time, I didn't know I was confused.
You thought you got it all together.
Yes, that time I just finished university. I'm enthusiastic. I have everything written down. I have my year plan. I have everything. And then he spoke things and I said, And later when I went back, I actually noticed
Mm.
the man was right. I went back and revised my life. I said, okay, I'm in this relationship. But what's the purpose of this relationship? That's why I loved when you were sharing about purpose.
Mm.
If we don't emphasize purpose,
Mm.
we are wasting time. Because why are you in that relationship? Why are you in that business? Why are you working what you're doing? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you sharing? Why are we talking to you people who are listening to us? Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
We don't have other things to do?
It's funny you should say that, because today we've started this series on the why of a man.
Mm.
So Lawrence, as a teacher of purpose, how do you weave purpose? I mean, I want to hear what you say to Brian that got him so worked up. Us who are not there when you're at the Manifest Fellowship, connect manhood and purpose and bring it to where we are today for us to know how to go forward.
You see, there's meaninglessness, and the worst thing about life is meaninglessness. And yet, on a daily basis, it's a possibility for a man and a woman to live a meaningless life, and yet that life is filled with activity. Like Brian has just said, the moment you wake up in the morning, the moment your eyes have opened, things start shaking. Activities are lined up all over the place. And yet your heart will be telling you what your heart will be whispering to you, just like that man. That man who spoke into your spirit, into your heart that particular day. That's the same thing the heart normally resonates with us, because you said earlier on, God has put eternity in our hearts.
Yes.
When you are not doing your purpose, I'm telling you, I don't care who you are, you're born again, you're not born again, you're a Christian or a Buddhist, when you're not doing your purpose, you will know.
So which means the why has nothing to do with faith or with a religion.
Yes.
Has everything to do with life.
Yes.
It's basically like, I could say it this way: marriage is not for Christians. Marriage is for who?
Everyone.
For human beings. The same thing with purpose. It's not for Christians. It's for the human being. Is a God's creation. Whether you're a Buddhist, you're a Muslim. I know in the Christian circles we normally say, "Oh, guys are enemies of God," and so on. And you can even go to scriptures. But God made every human, and God has put eternity in every human being. And there is a possibility, this is the problem, there is a possibility every waking day for a man to live outside of his purpose and live a meaningless life. But his life will have full activities.
Yes.
From morning to evening, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this. And for the most part, if you check, we are trying to feel the nothingness, the lack of purpose, we're trying to fill it with activities.
Yes.
So you have your calendar planned out, and you have activities filled up and so on. You do not want any space to be available. We've invented the TV so that we can fill the space with clicking on the TV and occupying time. And you can go to the grave and your heart will know. That is the moment that the heart becomes so fully aware and so loud you cannot quieten it. When you know, I am going and I did nothing and I could have done something.
Yes.
So purpose is something, it's not for a Christian, it's for a human being. It is there in every man's heart, in every man's soul, every man's spirit. But the man has got to have the awareness and the fortitude and the daring to ask, what in the world is it in the first place? What's my purpose as a man? And that's when you do that, let me tell you guys, and Brian has just, we can even go home. When you started talking about love, it's just basically everything.
Yes.
You can never, and I know in the fellowship I told you can never delink purpose from the designer.
Yes.
You can never delink the purpose of this microphone, the designer. If you remove the designer of the microphone from the equation, then this microphone can be used just about for anything.
Yes.
It's purposeless. There has got to be a designer. But another thing that I failed to mention is this: you can never delink what you've just mentioned, love, from purpose.
Yes.
Purpose is love, and it transforms someone else. It's for someone else.
Love is the purpose.
Love is the purpose.
That's right.
That's it. So that's the conversation that we need to be having as men. And you said earlier on that the societies are broken. People do not understand who really a man is, and that's why the fellowship is coming together to try and fix these things up.
Let me interject now. Just this Sunday, I visited the high school.
And I want us to talk about all that stuff going forward, because you work with young men.
Yes. I visited the high school, and the school had invited me to speak to close to 500 high school students.
Yeah.
And I meet there, I begin to share with the young people. And after, a young girl comes to me after the session, and she asks me a question. She tells me, my dad has not been staying with us as a family. And I want to know if it's how God has designed it that for us we stay separate from our father. I from Sunday up to now, I have not forgotten. I looked straight in the girl's eye. I could see that's just the question she could ask because of the limited time.
Yeah.
I can tell you now, I visited schools in just this year. The rates at which students faint in school. I'm not about fainting where you're in class and the kid faints. The sicknesses in schools.
You told me last Monday, about the guys who are admitted at...
if you go to the mental hospital here,
Butabika, yeah.
More than 1,000 high school students are admitted.
Wait.
1,000 students.
Let us start with the fact that Butabika can host 1,000 people.
Now, what I'm talking about is when they register, they come and ask, how old are you? 14. How old are you? 15. Maybe they can give you medication or refill from your home.
So basically, at least there are 1,000 patients.
Yes.
At Butabika alone.
Yes. Young people. So, this should speak, parents have done well to pay school fees, to give kids good phones, to give them good dressing, to build very beautiful homes, and we thank God for them. But I want to guarantee you that that's not the issue we are dealing with here. We're not dealing with now kids sleeping outside. We are dealing with a situation of the generation that is broken. Everything is at stake. And I want to tell my parents, for us who are parents, that we are dealing with something way bigger than even what your money can give.
Yeah.
We are living in a time where everything, you look at it, I was sharing with Lawrence the other week. I was telling him I visited a family beginning of the year. And a 14-year-old committed suicide because the mother took away the phone, because the mother was observing that the son is always on the phone, and he took away the phone. The mother went to the shop to work. 2 hours later, she was called that your son has committed suicide.
Wow.
We are dealing with real issues here. That's why I'm telling people we must wake up to the responsibility.
Did you hear of that girl last year who, when results came out, and she had gotten 11 in P7? And during that whole time of the vacation, people kept taunting her how she was dense and how what. And so guess what? She got 11. And the next day, she went and climbed a guava tree and hung herself. Marks. You're talking about phones. We're talking about marks. You and I, as adults, know. If I asked you, what did you get in S4? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
As in, we know that in the grand scheme of things, it's not important.
It's not important.
But that girl lost her life.
So the pressures in this world have increased. Kids are on social media. The whole thing has flipped. Now, if we don't define and come in to help young people, I deal with young people every single day. They come to me, they are looking for mentors, they're looking for fathers, they're looking for people who can inspire them. You can become all the politician you want, all the businessman you want, everything that you want, but the world is looking for people who are going to stand to the truth and inspire the younger people the right way. The right way.
That might also require vulnerability.
Yes. So we must leave from our horses, our positions and our offices and our executive director, I oversee this, I oversee this, to come back. On a weekly, I visit universities and speak to young people. On my busy schedule of work and everything, I visit and sit with them in their hostels and their rooms and ask them